Vren Gaming.
Hello and welcome, my name is Vren and this is the Vren Gaming channel. Today we will be discussing Tangledeep, and the most important question of all, is it worth your money? This is a single-player 16-bit role-playing roguelike game. It was released February 1st of this year by Impact Gameworks and has an overall positive score of 91% on Steam. So getting right into it, as you can see, we are presented with three different options. Starting out, we have our adventure mode, our heroic mode, and our hardcore mode. What these basically mean is how punishing do you want your character deaths to be. So we'll go ahead and select hardcore mode, and we are taken to our job screen, where that's just basically a fancy way of saying select your class, with the first one being Brigand, which is going to be your rogue type character. Next up we have a caster that's also a summoner. We have a melee caster hybrid that also happens to be flicking you off. We have a tank type character. You have your unarmed monk. You also have your bow and arrow user. You have a heavy magic nuking class. You have your two-handed weapon class. And you have a ranged / caster hybrid character. And at the bottom, as you can see, we have our difficulty meters. It ranges anywhere from easier all the way up to hard. And below that you have your tier passive bonuses, which basically means as you're advancing your character, you get more passive bonuses to further increase the strength of your character. Now you might be wondering, can I choose my gender? Can I be a male? Sadly not. This is not a roguelike where you can actually select, your actual gender or anything like that. So you will always play a female character in this. Just keep that in mind. So we'll go ahead and select the rogue or brigand, sorry. We'll go ahead and name him like so. And the following screen, you can see we have 12 different feats, or perks I like to call them. You start out with the first 9, all the way up to the scavenger when you first get this game, and the Rager, Notorious, and Lucid Dreamer are unlocked by playing the game. So minor spoiler there, sorry about that. But these are fairly easy to unlock, so I don't think it's really spoiling a whole lot. These are applied to your character right from the beginning. These make a big difference, so it's kind of important depending on which route you want to go to kind of plan out your character beforehand. Personally, I always like to do scavenger, and I like to do toughness, because as you'll see, the monsters in this game are no joke. As you load into the game, you will find yourself in the middle of this town. Movement in this game is very simple. You just left click and hold. If you don't hold your left mouse button, you just kind of stutter step like that. You can also use WASD on your keyboard or a gamepad if that's your fancy. Personally, I find the mouse to be the simplest. Going over the UI real quick, over here you have a chat log, which just goes over basic text, damage done, items picked up, things like that. On the right hand side, you have your stamina and energy, which are 2 resources that you use in this game. If you read what it says, monsters actually drop orbs that replenish your energy and your stamina. So it's kind of like Diablo 3 with the health orbs, if you've ever played Diablo 3, except over here it replenishes your resources instead. You have your health bar, you have an experience bar, and you have what's called a charge time bar. So what charge time is, as you can see, every time we move it kind of goes up by 3% each time. Is once it hits 100%, it gives you a free turn. This is very important, because in turn-based games, extra turns are especially powerful. Also, going back to movement, if you click on your character, left click, instead of having to move around, you can actually spend your turn that way waiting. So As you can see, I'm not moving, but my charge time is actually going up. So that's also a little thing to notice there. Above all this, you have your little mini map, which shows a pixelated map of kind of your surroundings. Very important. You have a healing flask, which heals you over time. Monsters drop a copious amount of these, but it's actually important to keep them because they do a lot of damage. Magic portal, this is used to go back to town. Yet again, going back to the Diablo franchise, which I think this game took a lot of aspirations from. The only caveat with this is it takes 12 turns to actually go back to town. So once you click this, you're not instantly teleported back to town. You have 12 turns to be getting hit. So don't rely on this as a emergency getaway. And a snack bag, which just kind of shows your healing foods and potions and things like that. At the bottom, you have a hotbar where you can place items, and over here, you can equip weapons to kind of go through them dynamically during battle. Pressing I takes you into your inventory. All the way to the left, it kind of shows your character stats. Yet again, your charge time, very important. If you find gear with that, definitely use it. Adventure tab, it just shows you some stats, how long you've been playing, the floor that you've actually been to this run, and the highest floor that you've been at. Next is your gear. Yeah, it's fairly simple. As you can see, you can hold up to 4 things but only equip 1. This is important if you want to switch from melee to ranged. You can actually have a ranged weapon, and you can just switch between the two during combat. You can also dual wield in this game. If you were to have another knife or dagger, you could actually put that in your offhand, and you get penalties for doing that. However, for certain classes like the rogue, it actually ends up being beneficial. You also get armor and accessories. Now, obviously this is a new character, so I haven't had any gear to pick up, but these are slots that you are going to fill in fairly quickly. And then at the bottom over there, you can see bonuses from gear. I think this is a cool little feature. The game basically shows you all the extra stats you get from just the gear that you're wearing. Moving on, you have your consumable item list. Right now I only have a mint herb brew. You can just left click, drag it to your hotbar like so. This will fill up fairly quickly. Next, you have your abilities tab, and if you click learn abilities, you can see you have basically your class's abilities, which if you look on the right hand side, it says cost to learn 75. Now these don't cost experience, these cost job points, which kind of go alongside with experience. You kill monsters, you do quests, you gain experience, you gain job points. So these cost job points, and as you can see in the kind of a teal color, this one costs 75 job points. I've already picked up Firebomb. You don't start out with it. I actually selected it and picked it, but all of these cost job points. And in the middle here, you can see your innate abilities. We already have our tier 1 passive bonus. However, if we want to reach tier 2, we have to spend 1,000 job points. So you have to go out, kill monsters, do quests, get job points, select your skills, and your tier 2 passive will become available. And then your tier 3 passive, you have to learn all of your abilities. And once you learn all of your abilities, your tier 3 passive bonus becomes available. Your next tab here is going to be your recipes, which I'll show you here in a second, but you find items out in the world, you combine them at a fireplace, and you discover these recipes. It's kind of cool, and they all do different things, and as you can see, a lot of them take, several turns to have their full effect. So that's what that is. I'm not sure what Rumors is. Combat log, you can just kind of see, the history of what happened to you. Monsterpedia just shows all the different monsters that you've actually fought. And then lastly, the settings. And this is the one thing that I wish this game had, was this setting option menu at the main menu screen of the game. However, you have to go into the game for you to actually access these options. So for you to find different recipes in this game, you just come over to this fire on the left hand side, and the reason why I'm pointing this out is because it's fairly easy to miss. You just click on the fire. As you can see, it will show your available ingredients. You can also season whatever it is you're making, and it will put it into a pan, cook, and make you a custom cooked recipe. There's a bunch of them. As you saw earlier, I only had a few of the many. Also, what I want to show you is if you come south down this way, you will actually have a second part to the town, and there's 3 mechanics in this game I would like to go over really quickly. This ancient machine, this is where you will be upgrading your items. You will be able to upgrade an item up to 3 times, and the way it works is you open a portal to a dream world, and you have to go and kill the boss of that dream world, and it will drop a upgraded version of an item that you selected. So you would come here, you would open up a item list, and you get to select which item you want to upgrade, and it gets transferred to the dream world boss, and you have to go defeat that boss. Now, these dream world monsters and the boss are technically supposed to be harder than normal monsters. I haven't found that to be the case, but according to the game, it is. There's a practice dummy here that you can hit, and up here to the right, you actually get to plant trees, which grow different types of fruits over your time fighting out with monsters. So this is a good way to kind of have that residual income of supplies. You just come here, you find a seed, you plant it, and you leave. Well, next time you come back to town, all of a sudden you'll see that you might have 2 or 3 apples. Kind of cool. And last but not least, over here, this is kind of the monster corral type of place. Monster rancher. So what you do is you get these items called mallets, monster mallets, and what you do is you take a monster down to critical HP, say 20%, and then you hit it over the head with a mallet, and you can actually bring it all the way back here and use it as a pet. And the thing with that is you cannot upgrade those monsters. However, you can combine them. So if you get a weak monster, the monster will stay weak. However, you can combine multiple monsters to make a stronger one. So we're going to go ahead and leave town now. As you leave, you do have an option to actually do a tutorial, which we're going to skip. And we get brought to a randomized zone. Every time you enter a zone, it will be randomized. If you look up to the left, you can see 1F, which means the first floor. You will always be brought to the Cedar Caverns. So the actual theme of the zones doesn't change as you go up. However, the actual layout itself does. Now, as you can see, every time you take a step, the enemy takes a step with you. And you just left click on an enemy. Now, the enemy is actually queuing up a special attack, and it's delineated by the red squares that are highlighted. So you can easily sidestep the special attack just like that. Now, one thing in these kind of games that you have to know is if you were to move toward the monster right now, since it's your turn, you're going into the attack range of the monster. So this is when standing idle comes into practice. So if you stand idle, the monster has to come to you just like that, and then you get a free attack turn on it just like that. So this is going to be your energy power-up orb that we talked about earlier, and right here on the hotbar you can see Firebomb. So all I would have to do is press 1, or you can just click on it, and you place it within one square tile of yourself. So I can just place this item right here, and I can move right out. And see, right now, I had no way of actually dodging that attack. So, and this right here cost me 16 energy, so you can see my energy bar went down. So this is kind of how the fighting in this game works. It's fairly simple, it's easy. Now all the items are randomly generated as well, so you can destroy that wooden barrel and it'll sometimes drop you something, sometimes it won't. Now you can see a little glint here, that's basically a hidden treasure. If you walk over it, you can see what you picked up. You want to keep an eye out for those. And then you'll also see these water fountains, which basically what they do is they give you healing flasks. These are very important. You want to make sure that you take those every time. Now this is only the first map, and as you can see, without healing, I'm already less than 50% health. So healing in this game is a very big deal. Now I've only been auto attacking as well, so if you start using your skills, obviously you can preserve some more health that way. Alright, now another thing to note is a lot of these levels actually have multiple stairs. So one of them will lead to a extra area where if you kill all the monsters, you will get a special loot. And the other one just advances you. As you can see, this one at the top, it tells you exactly where it's taking you. It's taking you to the second floor. And you will, from time to time, intermittently hit resting areas where you get to sit by a fire and you get to choose what kind of food you want to make. And these you take with you. These don't disappear. You can use them whenever, or you can rest and just fully replenish all of your health and energy and all that. This is what leveling up in the game looks like. You get to pick between your 5 different stats. The Brigand uses Guile, so this is going to be the skill that I'm going to be, or stat point that I'm going to be picking. And also, one last thing I want to mention here is you will eventually run into boss monsters. So as you can see, this little ooze, it has a skull right over its head, and this means that it's an elite monster. So under its name, you can see at the top it says Jelly, 100% HP, and then Summoner in brackets. So this Jelly will actually summon monsters. This is very, very similar to Diablo 3's Elite Monster Pack affixes if you've played Diablo 3. You can have monsters that pull you in, you can have monsters that are electrified, etc, etc. So just to kind of show you what this monster does, it summoned 2 bone crabs, and these guys really do hit for a lot. So I kind of just wanted to give you guys a show of that. Let me kill it real quick. You can see this monster actually doesn't go down too hard, but all of a sudden all of my health bar is missing. So we're gonna go ahead and eat some cheese. Not that it's gonna help a whole lot. And there is one more feature that I want to point out, is these Pandora's chests. What these do is they give you extra experience and they give you extra job points. However, they scale up the difficulty of the game for this level and all the future levels. So it kind of skips you ahead experience wise and skill wise. However, everything else in the game gets noticeably harder, and these are kind of spread out throughout the levels. So I'll just pick it up. As you can see, I just gained a bunch of experience and I just gained a bunch of job points. However, everything in the game scaled up. You can see right here, the box opens, all monsters will become tougher. And that brings us to the end of the game review. Is this game worth your money? I would say if you like roguelike games, absolutely this game is worth your money. It's a fantastic game. It's fun. However, if you're not into roguelike type games, then this game will not win you over and you will more than likely waste your money. So you saw from some of the gameplay and the mechanics if this game is a good fit for you or not. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Hit the like button and hit subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you so much, and until next time, this is Vren Gaming.